Senator Hill. Senator Warnock from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chair Powell, for being here again today. Every day I hear from Georgians who are feeling the pinch of rising costs in their wallets. Wages grew last year, but this growth has not kept pace with rising costs for housing, for gas, for groceries. Georgia families are swimming upstream, and while supply chain disruptions contribute to the problem, they are not the sole cause. 3 global shipping alliances control delivery from the majority of imported goods. 2 companies account for 70% of America's diaper market. And just 4 meat processors control more than 80% of the beef industry. This type of market concentration lowers competition and gives giant companies more power to use inflation as an excuse to raise prices, leaving Georgia families to foot the bill while their executives and investors get richer and richer. This is why I've pushed for a federal investigation into apparent price gouging by international cargo carriers, carriers that have seen as much as 2,000% increase in profit in the midst of a pandemic. Chairman Powell, yes or no, do you agree that more market competition is generally good for the economy and for consumers?
I do.
And that too much market concentration poses a risk that consumers can feel and are feeling, in fact, right now with rising prices?
I think that's an appropriate, concentration is an appropriate subject for the competition authorities.
But does market concentration pose a risk for rising prices, yes or no?
Yes, I wouldn't want to be heard to say, though, that I think that's the real source, the main source of inflation, but it certainly is.
So do you believe there is a role for the Federal Reserve to promote market competition to help ease inflationary pressures?
So we don't, outside of the banking industry, we don't have a role in competition policy as such. We do administer statutes that bear on that, but ultimately, though, our jobs are inflation and maximum employment, as you know very well. The industries that you're talking about and the kind of issues that you're talking about really are for the antitrust people rather than for monetary policy.
Right, but dealing with inflation is part of your
yes,
your mission and your mandate. And if market concentration is contributing to that, doesn't that involve the Fed's mandate?
But we don't have the tools to deal with market concentration, and it's we're supposed to achieve maximum employment and price stability. That's the classic role for the antitrust people at the FTC and the Justice Department and at the state level, rather than for us.
Will you commit to a study on how market concentration has affected the price of consumer goods during the pandemic and share that study with Congress and antitrust enforcers?
So I think I can do better than that, which is we actually have a good amount of research from inside the Fed and from outside the Fed that bears on these questions, and we'll be happy to share that with you right away.
All right. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you to address the root causes of rising costs for Georgia families, for American families in general. All right. Mr. Chairman, I've got 50 seconds left, but I'm going to defy Baptist preacher gravity. That's the end of my question.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Senator, follow that advice, Senator Rounds from South Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.